Hello everyone and welcome to the next edition of our Make a Movie at Home project, which is all about animation. To me, animation is one of the most fun parts of movie making. It's so exciting, engaging, creative. You can use all of your imagination. Everything you make it come to life. And it's all thanks to all of your work. And the great thing about it is it can be done either by you by yourself, or you can do it in a group either. So there are three different types of animation. The first one is stop-go animation, where you draw the character and you have them doing different pieces and you take them all as a series of photos which you bring all together into one long reel and you make them into a movie. Second one is claymation. If you know more from maybe your parents do, or Wallace and Gromit and all of these type of characters who are made with bits of clay or morla or something like that. We manipulate them, we bring them together, and we have the characters doing a lot of movements. And the last one then, which is very popular, is Legomation, which is where you use your Lego characters and you have them act out the scenes for you. So we're going to go through all three of these today and how we can use them. Now, if we look at Piglet here from Winnie the Pooh, what do we notice? Well, we notice that Piglet has a lot of different reactions. Piglet's reactions are all drawn. They're all different to each other and they could all be used. But why do we draw the same face again and again? The reason we do it is if we want to be a really good animator, and we want to use this all the time, we have to have different reactions. We can't just have the same reaction again and again. It must be different. It must look different. That could be as simple as just opening them out, closing them out. And if we take a photo of me with my mouth open and closed and use the same one again and again and again, it looks like I'm talking because my mouth opens and closes. If we want it to look shocked, happy, sad, it's a lot of different faces. But our body could say the same. So instead of drawing the entire bit of Piglet again and again, couldn't we just draw a different face every time? Now, what can we do? Well, what do we need to do to make our animation, I suppose, is the first one, and what type of animation are we going to use? Because that will depend on a lot of things. All we need is a table, some space, and somewhere for our camera. We then make our set. If we're doing stop-go animation, we need pieces of paper. We draw our backgrounds, we draw our characters, we draw our props, everything is drawn. We can use special effects like cotton wool for clouds or pieces of ribbon or something like that. We can have bits jumping out, we can have other bits on top of it, we can have layers, everything, but it's just paper and whatever we use with it. If we're doing claymation, obviously we could use our doll's house, or we could use some of our toys or characters. We could have Lego men, we could have anything we make. We could create our own set. We could use a shoebox, we could use a box, anything like that. And for Lego, we're obviously going to use a lot of our Lego characters and we're going to create our own sets. So we might build a house or build a room and use all of the different accessories as well. So you can see how creative it is. A lot of the work is going to be us doing it. We can do that in a team. We could all have different jobs. We can do it separately, or we can do it by ourselves. So this can be done, like I said, in three different ways. There is another way of animation, which is CGI, computer-generated imagery. But unfortunately, for us, it's probably not something we're going to be able to do right now. This is just like our movie making. What do? It's the same process. We start with an idea. We brainstorm and we choose a story. We keep it simple. Then we have our storyboard, which is going to be really helpful for us in animation, because if we can draw it small in the storyboard, we can draw it bigger for the animation. Then we're going to have our script. Then we're going to get everything ready. We're going to film, we're going to edit, and we're going to have our movie. Here we go. Keep it simple at the start. Just like with the Three Little Pigs for the movie, we don't want to do too much too soon. So we don't have to do an entire story. If it was me starting, I would pick something like two people walking up to the house. They'll talk outside and then they go in through the door. Now, there's a thing for you. How do I get someone to go through a door in the animation? If everything's 2D, they're all pieces of paper, what do I do? Well, look at the example we have here. We have the butterflies and they aren't part of the background. The house seems to be standing up from the page, meaning it's cut out and drawn in. So couldn't we cut out the door and have that as on a flap that it can open and close so we could go in and out through the door? Of course, a problem we may have is if you look at those butterflies, they would be too big to go through that door. So we have to make sure if we want them to do something like that, they're the right size. Again, if we did butterflies at the normal size for a house, they would be too small to see. Little bits are important. Do you see the butterflies' faces and how big they are? Why do you think that is? The reason is so you can show emotion. You could have them happy, sad, we can see their eyes, we can see their mouths, anything like that. If we were to draw it, just that circle, we could cut out different faces for happy, sad, anything like that, and swap that circle but keep the body the same, so we wouldn't have to draw the body every time. Small movements, a little goes a long way. I have my dinosaur here, and I want him to go across the screen, and I'm doing stop motion. So I take one photo here, one there, 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 there. If I do this, 1, 2, 3, will it look like he's moving across? No, it'll look like he's jumped from one place to the next, to the next. So it doesn't look like a movie. It looks like different shots before, during, and after. So we have to be so slow, like this, that it looks like every time it's a few steps. That's what it is. It's a lot of patience. If you are a really good patient person, you will be excellent at this. And if you're not, that's okay. It's something you can work on. You can become very patient. So, like I said, we use our big features, we plan it, we make our storyboard, and we decide who will do what. If we're in a group and there's 3 of us, and we're all at the start, and we're doing stop-go animation, we're drawing. One person could do the background, one person could do the characters, and the other person could color. There's a job for 3 people. With 6 people, 2 people working on the characters, 2 people on the background, 1 making the storyboard, and 1 checking everyone's okay. There's so many different ways we can work in groups. For animation, it's usually 6 photos for 1 second of movie. That's only 1 second. So this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only going to be 1 second in our movie. So for 60 photos, we'll only have 10 seconds of movie. And if I want to talk in it, hello, my name is Rory. That's about 4 seconds. So for 4 seconds, I need 20 or 25 photos. Well, I need 24 exactly for 4 seconds, but about 20 to 25 photos. That's a lot, especially if I'm not doing any movement. I just have open mouth, closed mouth, open mouth, closed mouth. So I'm going to be showing you in a second how to do all of that. When we're doing our characters, you should draw them in white paper or card if you have it. The reason is you can color it in. Use lots of bright, good, strong colors. It's the second last one there. And draw as much as you can. You can look on the internet, you can look in books. They can help you give examples for characters, but most of us are really good and really artistic. I know the children I've seen in class have been excellent at it. And we don't need to copy someone. We don't need to do Tom and Jerry or someone like that. We can make our own characters. They don't have to be someone else's. So always think of bits like that. Outline all of them with a black marker when you're done. So we will see where their arms end, bits like that. It makes it much easier. And if they're outlined in a black marker, they stand out from everything else in the background. Movable limbs. I'll show you this in a second, but what I mean is draw the person's body and cut off their arms and cut off their legs. And the reason for that is when you're making it, if we cut them off here and here, we have 2 parts for the arm. I can have my arm moving in, out, up, down. I can put them in all these different angles. So we've got a bit of our maths with our angles, and it also makes it look more like I am moving. So if I was running, my arms would be going like that. If I'm walking, they're just at my side, moving a little bit. But you see the way my body's swinging and my arms are moving? It's not my body, it's my arms that move. So I want to show that when I'm doing animation. Don't forget our props. In Lego, we have lots of different accessories, but we have to draw the props like a suitcase or a bag or a football. And remember that all of these should be parts that you can bring in and out, not stuck to your hands in case you want to use them for something different. You can use lots of things you find outside or inside, lots of junk art, lots of stones, pebbles, rocks, flowers, tinfoil. All of these could be different bits. What could tinfoil be? What could it be? A mirror? Could it give a bright, shiny light? Could we use actual grass or flowers to make it look like a garden? Cling film will give it a look maybe of windows, cotton wool for clouds down there, all the different bits. And like I said, the door that opens and closes adds another dimension. Another example would be maybe giving a duvet on a bed. You just draw the piece of paper, make it look like a duvet, and you can slide the character in underneath. The most important thing to do is to enjoy it. For the backgrounds then, it's important to have them colorful. We try and use as big paper as we can because then we can make our characters bigger. If all we have at home is A4 paper, that's no problem. Use it. But what we could do is we could stick some pieces of it together to make it bigger. Try and keep them nice and colorful and simple and add other bits to it. When you're making your movie, we're always trying to make sure the lighting is correct. Just like with our movies, we don't want there to be a shadow. So if I'm standing over the picture and there's a light shining straight on it, we could get a shadow. How do we get rid of it? We move a piece of paper or we move the camera until the shadow is gone. Ensuring the camera is correct is a really difficult skill to do, and I'll be showing you how to do it now in 1 minute. What I mean by that is if you have one piece of paper and you're trying to show it, you just want to show that bit of paper as if that's covering your entire area. You don't want to show the table, you don't want to show the ground, you don't want to show your legs or your arms. So you're trying to make sure everything you want is in the camera and everything you don't want is not. And always have your storyboard there beforehand so that you can know what's going to happen next and you're ready with your different scenes. Remember, with all of our backgrounds, we could have 3 or 4 different backgrounds and we can have them changing every time we do a new scene. It's not like a film where we're recording all the time, we're taking photos, so we can swap things very simply. But you should always stick your background down onto the table so that it doesn't move. The characters will move, but the background should not. So, did you know in Ireland, we are one of the best countries for animation? Cartoon Saloon is down in County Kilkenny, and they have had 3 Oscar nominations for their movies. They have very kindly allowed me to show you some of their work, just so you can get an example of what is being done here in Ireland. So that's an example of how incredible, I suppose, you could be. How amazing it would be to have a job as an animator. And this is something that you can do in Ireland, and there are lots of chances for you to do it. So now that we've seen that, let's see what we can do. This is an example I made, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how I did it now in 1 second.
After that, oh, it's wrong, lovely. Tom, hi, breakfast there.
So there's an example of one I made, one that's on the app StopMotion Studio, and some that the children made in first and second class. And that was an example of the first one they made. The reason I wanted to show you that is because that's where they started out. So in the animation, in some of them, you can see lots of parts of the table. You can see some of the other children in the background, all of that. But for the first one, when they were doing it together, that's what happens. And they get better and better as they go on. Never worry about mistakes you make. You always learn from them, and you can get better every time. So hopefully now I'll show you exactly how to use the app, what it does, and you will be able to start making your own animation, be it stop-go animation, claymation, or Legomation. And I really hope you love it as much as I do. Okay, look at how we make an animation. So you're going to have to get one of your apps, and the app I would recommend is StopMotion Studio. You see it in the bottom right-hand corner there. It's a blue icon with a picture of a camera in the middle. There is a paid version of this, but I would always recommend you start with the free version, and you can see what it does. So if I open StopMotion here, it gives me lots of options on what I can do. To start a new movie, I'm going to go over to the arrow, the cross, and says new movie, and I click that. Now, here we go. I have my scene set up. So what do I do? Well, first thing I've done is I've put a rug on the table. The reason I've done is that it looks like it's part of the background. You can add to it, you could zoom in, you can do whatever you want. So if I zoom in or out, I can bring more or less into the picture. So I have my camera set up, I have my background made, and I have my characters ready to go. The big difference between this and a movie, I suppose, is I'm in complete charge. Everything I do is what happens in the movie. So when we have these characters, we take a picture. How do we take a picture? It's the red button. So I press that once, and there's my first photo taken. Now, at the bottom, you see there's a blue one that if I move something a little bit, I just move from one square across. Now he's moved to one square. If I keep doing this, just moving this guy one square every time, now we have 6 or 7 photos. Oh, he fell over. Now, I want to see how that looks, so I'm going to hit play. So underneath the red button where we hit for recording or taking our photos, we hit the play button. Now, was that perfect? No, because if I look back here, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Is that one fine? In the top of it, and in this one, you can see I didn't move my hand. So what do I do? Do I start again? Or do I just delete them? So you have an option. The selected photo is always going to be with a blue box around it. So whichever one I move to, I just slide through. This one has my hand in it. So if I click on it, I have all these options. Insert camera, which means I could add more photos in that place. Pause, audio, so I could talk. Edit, erase. So I can try the erase button, but that's not one of my free on my free app. So what I do instead is I will choose to delete it, or I delete that one and I delete that one. Now I have none with my hands in it. So I go back here, I have 1, 2, 3, but now there's a big jump. I'll see what it looks like when we play. It doesn't look too bad because it's very quick. If I wanted to add a photo in here, I would go click on this, say insert camera, and now I'd move him back 3 spaces. I'll go click, go forward 1, this time making sure my hand is out, click again, and once more, click again. Now, that's that bit done. What do I do next? Well, I try and move more than one character at once. So now I'm going to move everyone. So I've moved everyone now 1 block, but I haven't taken a photo. So I make sure I come over to the end and I go click. Okay, and now I move 1 more again. So you can see how this takes a little bit of time for each person to move, especially if that happens and they fall over on me. Now that everyone has moved, we do send camera to the end, and we go click. So you always put the camera to the end when you're ready because obviously you want it to start again. Get my hand out, click, and we'll do 2 more. We'll do this one, this one. We try and get the leg up here if we can. It just won't sit properly for me. And so now we have a set of pictures together. And we can see how they all look like they are moving, which is what we want in our movie. It would be important at different times then for me to, let's say, when I go to the end, I could zoom in. I can move my camera and have it zoomed in on these 2 people. So I could have them talking to each other. So I'm going to turn him this way. Oh. So you're going to be a lot better than I am because I keep dropping my figures because I'm not making sure they're sitting on the squares. It's important to have them sitting on the squares so that they only move a certain amount. Make sure you keep it good and patient, and so that they are stable. You can see 1 leg is up. I have an over the shoulder shot here, and I can use all of my different shots. I could just keep clicking, and we could have the 2 of them talking here like that. So once I have all of my shots taken, or a certain amount, I need to make sure I know what the other buttons do. So I can obviously scroll back through all my photos. And the first button I have is the microphone here. And what the microphone does is it will allow me to put a voice on it. So I could hit start recording in 3, 2, and here we have everyone moving in and they're talking together. And I hit stop. Now I can play this. And here we have everyone moving in and they're talking together. And I hit stop. So if I'm happy with that, I hit done. And now I have it recorded onto my movie. The next button is to add. Now, a lot of these I cannot do on the free version, but I don't need to because I'm using my camera. The settings is the next one. I can change this into black and white or leave it be. I can decide how quickly I want my speed to be. So I might bring it back. I said about 6 frames per second, so I'll leave it at 6. After that, do I want it to fade in or fade out at the start of every scene? You play with these to find out exactly what to do. But if I put that in, done. If you watch what happens. And here we have everyone moving in and they're talking. And you see that at the start, it comes in, it fades in. So we have that little black bit at the start. Then we have what aspect we want it. Now, if you've gotten your camera right, you don't have to worry about it. Next are little things like this. You could make it look like it's looking through binoculars. Again, little things in the foreground. Most of them are locked because you have to pay for them. The black and white I've shown you, and how you want it to play. They're not very important. I'm just going to take off the binoculars now. But what we do have over here on the left-hand side is called onion skinning. And I'm going to show you how that works. So, if we have this one here, and I move my onion skinning up or down. Now, I'm going to move one of the characters. Do you see it's blurry and it looks like there's 2 of them? The reason is the onion skinning shows me where he was in the last shot and where he is now. Should there be that much of a gap? If I move him back in even a little bit more, that's better now. Or if I move him up one, it looks like he was where he is. So I click. And now I have it back. Now if I turn him this way, that's where he was and where he is. This guy, I'm moving forward like that. So you can see exactly where you left off. It looks fine until you moved him at all. And then you can see some sort of movement. So the onion skinning is really, really helpful to make sure that you only do a little movement every time. And it makes it feel very professional. So that's one I definitely love. Another great button is over here with the question mark. If I click that, it shows me what every button does. So in that way, I know exactly what I'm doing. So that is my Lego animation for you. I'm now going to show you how to do stop-go animation with pictures and art. So the next bit is then stop motion. So I'm going to again click my cross for new movie. Now, when I have that done, you will see I have my picture. On my picture, for anyone who's a bit older, I have cut out the hands and legs. You don't have to do this at the start, but it's a good idea. Can any of you figure out why? If you've watched the other videos, maybe you already have the answer. But the idea is I slide them underneath my person here. I put them in. And when I have them, I can move the arms or the legs up or down to make it look like the person is moving. Now, that's great, but what do I need to do first? Well, first of all, what I have to do is I have to get my picture taking up most of the screen. So I'm going to zoom in here. Now, do we see that we're getting rid of a lot of the background and the table by zooming in? Now, have I enough space for my man? Okay, that looks pretty good. I can see him for the most part. I don't see anything else around. Now, I was a bit lazy here. You can see my background is not very good, but this is just an example. And I would hope you would do much better than I do. But when we have our man here, what do we want him to do? Do we want him to be able to kick a football? So we bring the football here up to his hand. Remember, we haven't taken any photos yet, so we're just getting started. And this is a little bit blurry. We might try and move it a little bit so that it would react better for us. Now, that's a lot better. What I did was I moved the onion skinning until I could see the first picture properly. I wanted to see it better. So I'm going to hit click, take my first photo, and now I have to move all of the little bits. So I'm going to drop the ball a little bit, move the hand, and move this hand. I'll bring my onion skinning back, if it'll let me. And I could see the little outline of where he was. There's my second photo. Ball drops a bit more, hand moves, hand moves, foot moves, foot moves. So everything has a little bit of movement. There's photo number 3. Ball comes out, foot comes out, that's all. Photo number 4, number 5. And this time I'm going to move everything again, just so it looks a bit better. Six. 7. With all of these a little bit. 8. I've got the ball at my foot now. 9. It's going to come back up a little bit. 10. The foot goes away, hand comes up. Now, let's play that and see how it looks. I'm happy with that. I think that my hands and feet are moving well. If I was to move in or out, I can make him walk, I can make him kick the ball. It's just a very simple example. When I'm starting with animation and something like this, just do what I did. One person doing one activity, be that kicking a ball, jumping up and down, walking. It's not a story you start with, it's just one activity. One little thing, and then you keep adding and adding and adding to it. Because if you can do one thing, you can do 10 things, just like in maths. So in that way, we have shown how to do it. Now, if I were to bring something like this in, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that my dinosaur is 3D and my picture is 2D. So these don't work well together. My dinosaur would work with my Lego or any characters like that. The only thing I have to be aware of is the dinosaur can't move legs and feet, so it can only move across like that, across, every time. Also, my camera angle isn't right for my dinosaur. Because they're 3D, I'd want to be face on, not camera down. So I'm showing you all the different things you need to know about animation. Now that you have it, I really hope you enjoy it. In the video on tips and tricks, once you've gotten a little bit better, I have loads of ideas on how to make animation better. So I hope you'll watch that then. And thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see your animations very